Locking enabled.
Thanks, Craig.
No worries.
Ah.
for?
So there's a dodgy track cut at Skyline.
I think I'll need it.
No, one that pings you even though you don't cut.
Is that when you get too close to the inside wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was there last time too. It got me.
Yeah, I think it gives you an immediate drive-through as well, so we might have to get a few of them cleared if we can.
Good idea.
We can mention that to Rich or something.
Yeah, copy.
Yeah, we'll talk about it during the...
Oh, cheers, Rich. Didn't know you were there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it during the driver's briefing when Chris is on.
Whereas I might not race tonight. I can't even get a lap in. I haven't raced that fact in the wet. It's fucking I'm shit.
I'm just looking at the bomb at Bathurst, and it just updated another one from 8:09 to 8:34. And 8:34, you can see the blue bit southeast of Bathurst. So hopefully it might clear up 8:39 o'clock onwards.
Hey Rich, it's Oggy here.
Yeah, mate.
I'm just getting in, and it's just sitting on joining server. Do I need to delete some stuff out of content or anything? Has something been changed?
Go into the install folder, get rid of the DUS cards,
Oh, yep.
get rid of the track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're using it 0.928 or whatever. Just get rid of the other track, get rid of the DUS track.
Yeah,
And then go into packages and, sorry, go, who was that?
no, I said I had to delete all my Bathurst tracks the other day to get mine working.
Yeah, but delete the tracks. What, you didn't have to delete the cars, it was just the
No,
track.
I deleted every Mount Panorama or Bathurst I had, and then it was downloaded for me.
Yeah, alright, don't try without doing the cars first, Doggy. Just do all the tracks and then just try it, alright? And make sure it's out of your packages folder. Make sure you don't have the actual package in the package folder. Like the actual track or whatever, the DUS track, whatever. I'm getting all out. Yep.
I'll start the driver's briefing in a couple of minutes, as long as everyone's around.
Copy.
Sounds good.
Rich, I haven't seen this Murray Denny bloke appear on Discord, and he's been coming in and out a bit. If you see him again, can you just block him from the server?
Sure.
He is registered.
Yeah, he's been on and off all week.
Yeah, but
he's been-
he hasn't come into Discord, so can't have him drive.
Yeah, well, that's the rule. If you're not in Discord, you can't drive.
He was lagging pretty bad the other night too.
Oh, yeah, I can tell he's from overseas. I think he's one of Matter's friends. I think. I don't know, because he's got 150 ping always.
Or is he the guy that's from South Africa? I saw someone from South Africa sign up.
Might be him then, because he's got 150 ping all the time when he's on.
All right, well, we might as well get a start to the driver's briefing. Welcome, everyone, to round 11 of the Service Australia DUS V8 Supercars Championship. Obviously, it's the Bathurst Enduro for this year, for 2022, which is also our, well, as part of our annual King of the Mountain trophy as well. So the winner of tonight's race will walk away with a pretty neat little trophy. From 8 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Time, we're going to head into a 20-minute qualifying session, which is qualifying 1. And then straight after that, we're going to have our top 10 shootout, obviously for only the top 10 drivers, even though everyone will be still sitting in the server. I'm not going to go through the process right now on the top 10 shootout. Rich will take care of it. The only thing that I will say is whoever does qualify in 10th, just be ready to head out straight away when qualifying 2 starts.
Yeah, don't wait for me to say number 10, come out, just go.
Just
go.
Absolutely. Go. Just don't go through the red light if it's showing a red light.
If you don't know who 10th place is, I'll just say, well done, Mark. Well done, Alex. Whatever. Yeah.
After the top 10 shootouts done, obviously that finalises the order. We'll have a 5-minute warm up, and then at close to 9 PM we start our 2-hour race. As you would probably be aware by now, you've got 3 types of tyres to choose from for tonight: softs, hards, and wets. It's obviously a fixed setup event with 100% damage. There's no compulsory pit stops. It's not necessary in this instance, and we've got real weather turned on, which is synced via an API. So it can change throughout the night. With Real Road 2.0 as well, you'll probably notice if you haven't driven in the wet with this new version of Real Road. Yes, you will notice degradation of wet tyres and the performance of the wet tyres if you let them overheat and things like that. So there will all be things that you'll come across and become familiar with. Blue flags are important around here, so please obey the blue flags, but don't jump out of the way if you're being overtaken. Just allow the other car to go around you. Just hold your line and let the other car do the work. That said, faster cars also need to understand that it's not possible to overtake easily coming down across the top of the mountain, as Shane Van Gisbergen found out yesterday. So just be mindful of that. If you're coming up towards a slower car and you're coming into the dipper, don't overtake them in the dipper. Just wait until after it. Go do it at elbow or on the back straight on Conrod Straight. Safety cars are a thing. We may call safety cars tonight if there are pile-ups, if there's more than 3 cars or 4 cars involved. That will be at Rich's discretion. He is the race director tonight. And also Rich will have the power to clear any dodgy penalties. If you think you've got a dodgy penalty for one thing or another, please just call it out over Discord. Let Rich acknowledge that he heard your message, and he'll clear any dodgy penalties for you. But just keep racing as per normal, so if you think you've got a dodgy penalty.
What are we going to do about this one on the top wall?
What's that? Sorry?
The penalty on the top wall, Chris. Someone.
Yeah, if anyone gets it throughout the race and they call it out to you, just clear it, mate. Just clear it.
Yeah, make sure that the people call it the right place at the right time, and just yell out your name. Because I still can't get everyone's voices. Just yell out your name.
Yep.
And I'll take it from there. And there's just one more tip too. When you finished your hot lap, everyone, just pull over to the side. You don't have to go around the corner. If you know no one's behind you, just go around the first corner. Just pull over to the side to escape out and stop, so that the TV crew can keep on your hot lap until they go to the next video. I think it was. Isn't that what you mentioned, Chris?
Yeah. Just go around. Just go up to the support paddock entrance, somewhere around there before you escape out,
Yeah.
if you can. Some people like to just drive on at the first corner. The broadcast team at Sim Sports, Checkered Flag Sim Sports, are pretty good at figuring it out quickly. We don't seem to have too many dramas with those guys figuring it out.
I just want to go off par for a minute because I know who comes on the server and everyone's on the server, right?
Yep.
And I know when there's someone in spectator mode because it doesn't show up in live timing. Are you sure these guys are ready and prepared to get onto our server and not going to have problems like everyone else has because they're usually on by now, Chris?
Okay. I will double check. Okay. I'll just finish this and then I'll just dial in with it.
Yeah, I know I went off par, but I just thought I'd better mention.
No. Thanks for highlighting it because we have just had a daylight savings time change. So
yeah.
The next thing I thought I would mention is obviously the blue flags, safety cars, the clearing the dodgy penalties, unsafe re-entry. Please be careful if you do go off track when you come back on track. If you impede another vehicle when you come back on, that's an unsafe re-entry onto the circuit. So please be mindful about how you re-enter and be careful when you do so. Make sure the track is clear before you do. If you do come back on track and you do get involved in a incident, or if you're just involved in an incident in general, our policy is to redress, so to give the position back to the person who you impacted. So it might hold you up, but it's the right thing to do. And obviously the complaints process is to notify the stewards. If you're not happy with something post-race, you can report it to the stewards. Please just don't get abusive over Discord. It doesn't help anyone. It is a long race. Enjoy yourself. Stay off the walls. It's going to be a race of attrition. If the track dries up, it'll be a real gamble as to who goes on to slicks, and it'll be a fascinating 2 hours. But enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I got me money on it. It will. Go. It will. Yep. Clear up.
All right, guys. Anyway, thanks for that, and good luck, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Where's everyone's cameras today?
No one wants to show themselves being all sweaty right at the very end.
Nothing wrong with sweaty men, is there, Jacob?
I mean, I don't like it, but you do you.
It's okay, Jacob. We won't judge you.
Oh, jeez.
I'm looking forward to it. If it's a wet to dry race, it's gonna make me going into the wall a lot more fun.
Just if you lose a bumper, Jacob, just replace it. Don't just quit out.
Nah, if you lose a bumper, you meant to you gotta retire, don't you?
You do, but
Tire wear even. If your tires go down by 1%, you gotta quit and retire.
yeah, well, that's true. No, Brad's here. See.
I feel so out of place on the timing screen. Everyone else has got like their own cars and their face, and then there's just me and fucking the monster.
You can say you've got monster sponsorship.
I mean, it's my favourite drink, so... I got one sitting right next to me.
I got a monster in my lap.
Silence, mate. You've just killed the room.
Yeah, killed the fireman guy.
We can't do anything about that track at the top of the hill in qualifying because it deletes your time, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Because I'm getting, it's got one then, went nowhere near the wall.
not the best line, so just go wider.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
It'll kill your lap anyway.
Yeah.
It just sucks during the race because shit happens.
You know, we joke about me retiring, but technically so far this year I've got 100% finish.
That's good.
Finishing stat, so
Keep
I've only
that up.
I've only shown up to 2 races, but ignore that.
Well, put it this way: if you finish this race, there's a good chance you're going to be up the pointy end. Just if you get by.
Well, if I finish points, I'll definitely be at like the bottom of the usual contenders. Maybe.
I don't want to know what happens if you lose your bumper and then how that. If you got to do a couple of extra laps on it.
Pain, I'd imagine. No downforce.
Yeah, Rich, I just spoke with Check and Flag Sim Sports, and they're just firing up right now. So they might just trim a little bit off at the very start of qualifying one, but they'll be on.
Yeah, that's good. The the shootout's more important than the qualifying.
Yeah,
anyway,
correct.
So,
Yeah, and I totally forgot to tell them about daylight savings time change.
Lucky I said something, mate.
Otherwise, it's just in the race.
They would have been
Anyway.
getting on at fucking 9 o'clock or whatever, getting ready for qualifying, and
Yeah, they
we're
would have gone,
halfway
alright,
through
let's
the
go.
race.
What's going on here? Start. What the hell?
Yeah, I reckon you're looking at about 9 o'clock because I'm just looking at Bomb. They've updated it again. At 9 o'clock, it's clear as not a crowd. It's all past Bathurst.
I hope you're right, Rich. That'll be a fun race if it clears up a little.
It'll still probably be wet at the start, though. Sure.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
But 15 cars should nicely get rid of it slowly.
15 of some of the most expensive Hoovers in the world, as Crofty likes to put it. I think.
Good luck with
Alright.
Holly, gents.
Here we go.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
Good luck, have fun, stay straight.
Drive it like you stole.
But keep it off the walls.
Log building finished. Logging enabled. Logging enabled.
Sneak it in there, Johnny.
Yeah, not good to be still on dries.
Wondering what you're doing.
Sorry, mate.
Log building finished.
Thanks, Liam.
All good, mate.
Logging enabled.
Well done, Paul. You're first up.
Copy.
And I caught you, Mr. Jacob, coming out of your pit bay, and you nearly took poor old Hoggy out.
Oh, did I? Whoops.
I've got a good look at that too.
Ah, that was probably my fault. I was trying to let goods go past.
Old wrecking ball Jacob.
To be fair, I can't look left or right because I don't have it bound.
Oh, legal.
Sure thing, Zoolander.
My.
Hey Rich, am I still right to start the race, mate, even though I scored?
Yep, go for it, bud. Yep, you go.
Cheers, buddy.
Approach a race like this?
You're asking me to pinpoint a danger zone or a specific point of the circuit that's dangerous at Mount Panorama, which you could pretty much identify every single corner as a danger zone, to be honest. But I think there's a few that stand out in particular, and I guess you've got the cutting, which is quite notorious for catching people out. Of course, if there's anyone that has an instant in that particular spot of the track, then you're completely blind. It's uphill and it's off camber, so the car wants to understeer into that particular part. Then you've immediately got Griffin's Mount or Ride Part. You've seen many accidents in the real world as they fly through there. It's pretty much full throttles, although I recommend a slight lift myself when coming through the right-hander in these V8s, because I have done a few laps in these when we were practicing. But yeah, there's a small lift potentially, especially in wet conditions coming through there. If you mess that up, you're going to slam the car into the left-hand barrier, and then pretty much you're a passenger as it comes across to the other side where another concrete barrier awaits you. Then of course you've got at the very top of the hill,
yeah, Alex, wait
you've
at
got
the pit
obviously
exit
Skyline
lights,
and
Alex,
the
pit exit
corner
lights,
just
please, mate.
predecessing that. That's pretty much full throttle as well. And if you get that wrong, there's a small gravel trap on the exit, but it's not enough to slow the car down at all. And then of course, and then you go immediately down into the S's, which is a drop away from where the car is. The car again wants to understeer. You've got gravity against you. The car doesn't want to slow down. You're fighting it all the way to the braking point, and it gets so narrow. So if you're going too wide into that corner, then you better pray that something's going to go right. There's a small escape to the left-hand side, but even that, it doesn't offer much. So it's all risk from pretty much as soon as you go up to the hill, all the way to the point past the S's. And then I think the final danger point that I'd like to highlight is probably Forest Elbow, which is of course the final corner before you charge all the way down the hill. That right there, again, understeers like crazy. The car doesn't want to behave because of the nature of the corner. It's
coming out
away
now.
from
Go.
the car. And
Keep
then
going,
you've got to
Alex.
basically wrestle it and then floor the throttle as early as possible to maintain that speed down the straight.
Is this time trial?
I think that covers
Is
pretty
this
much
your
the
shootout,
circuit, but those are the main danger
Yeah,
points
top
that
10
I
shootout.
highlight for
Yeah.
Bathurst.
You're in it.
Massive challenge awaits these drivers then, as I think we've got our first car on track for their flying lap, which I believe will be Robinson, but we'll go back to that in a second, as he's just coming through the first sector now, going uphill. So this will be the first test on the benchmark as we Sir Forest Elbow there. I do apologise if my corner names are wrong. I'm not hugely knowledgeable with this track, but I know the most important bits. But Robinson in the 83 car going around the top of the mountain now.
I didn't like
now
my fuel
see
load.
how wet it still is there.
Oh, well,
So
that's life.
it's going to really, if it's still raining, which I think it might be, then it's going to be a very big challenge. But if it stops raining, that is going to help Oppisano, Walker, Broadbent, everyone at the top of the field as the track starts to dry out a little bit. We're coming down the mountain now. He's set obviously a purple in the first sector. It's his first car out, and then coming all the way down through the S's now. It's very tricky to get this car, especially in these conditions too. Just stay on the racing line and not in the wall. If you hit that barrier, that's pretty much your race over. But down now on Conroe Straight now, very fast. It's the fastest part, getting close to, well, I think over 300 kilometers an hour coming through here, and then through the chase. Very tricky corner, especially in the wet, and then you've got to get immediately on the brakes into the braking zone and try not to just go straight on into the gravel.
Yeah, I mean, in these conditions, you've got to be so tentative with the throttle. It's all about that throttle management, making sure that the car's in line and in check at all times. That's going to be the difference between pole position here this evening. As it just comes across through the final corner, across the start finishing line. What is the first time on the board? It's a 2:22.012 from Paul Robinson, the 83. And that starts our final top 10. I mean, I've got to feel sorry for Paul a bit. I mean, the session has stopped. The rain's still coming down. So he's going to be going out technically in untested water, if that makes sense, because nobody else is on track clearing it. He's pretty much out there on his own. But Alex Kiedis will be the next man to line up for his qualifying lap. And he's just coming into the final corner now to begin his flyer.
Yeah, so 222, not the best of laps for Robson, but he's done what he can in the conditions, as there will be a lot of standing water. You can see as Kiedis comes through the final corner very sideways, which is just what we expect from these V8 supercars at this point. Coming through the first sector now, through the first corner, no problems really at all. Up the straight up towards the mountain now. And we'll see what Alex Kiedis in the number 17 car, Walker Racing car, can do on his lap here. So he was 9th in the kind of initial qualifying session. We'll see where he can put himself towards the end of this session. No dramas so far, as he's just tentatively getting the car through the initial corners.
As we said, Alex Kiedis as well been doing quite well in the latter stages of the championship. He's been with us since, I believe, Perth Super Sprint, so he's had a few points from there, but consistently he's getting more and more each time he goes out on track. So he's currently sitting in P15, so he could easily quite move up. He's got a few guys within striking distance in the championship standings, so this could be the first way to do it, the first endurance round, closing before the end of the season. And he's just set a purple sector 1, so he's on track to move up in the order and take pole position for the time being.
Yeah, doing very well. It's Alex Kiedis, and it presents a new challenge. Does the endurance racing a bit different than the sprints and the super sprints we've been having beforehand? As you do need to just manage the pace for the entirety of the race, because as we've said a couple of times now, one race this evening, and if you've got one chance, if you mess it up, there is no chance to get back the more points in the second race. That is it. So a different style of driving is needed for the endurance rounds, and we'll see who can better adapt to these conditions and also the conditions on the road. So coming through the final sector now is Alex Kiedis. He's purple in sector 1 and 2. He's about half a second through each sector quicker than Robinson, the 83. So coming through the final sector now, we'll see what he can do.
Roger.
Approaching the final corner now, and as he comes across the line, we'll see what the time is. Very side without the final corner, he nearly loses it. That would have been a lot of time lost there. But 20.971 as he plows into the wall. I assume out of frustration with the final corner. He could have gone a lot quicker there, because could Kiedis, but decent time, 22.20.9. That puts him at provisional pole.
All good to go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right, Brett.
Coming through the final corner onto his flying lap.
Yeah, Mark Young, he's had a great second half of the season as well, hasn't he? Because he's currently sitting in 4th place, had a few podium positions at Sandown and Auckland as well. So he's on a real charge in terms of his current game. So be looking to see if he can potentially disrupt the top runners once again at Bathurst. I think consistency will be the key here, and we'll see how he gets on as he comes up the hill towards Sector 1.
Just back it off
When we
just a
get
little bit,
slightly on into the top 10 shootout, we'll go on board with some of the guys and have a flying lap fully around the circuit, run you through the course. It's not going to be anywhere near as fast as where it is in dry conditions as he squirrels his way out of Quarry Bend and in through to the cutting we come, and he's slowing down quite nicely, hugs the inside line. Slight wiggle from the back end of the Holden as he puts down the power once again, and always it's even fighting him through the next set of corners, which is Griffin's. Top of the hill, no problems, avoids that barrier that we mentioned. That's a high risk factor as he comes through Sector 2 now.
Right, he's into the
down
S's
Solomon
now.
Part, there's a small dip, and the car instantly gets shoved back up into the air as we reach the top of the hill. And then approaching Skyline, this is going to be crunch time, and where you can find any time the car sliding slightly to the right hand side as he turns the car in, but otherwise slowed down very nicely through the S's. No dramas there. And sector times wise, he is purple for sector 1, and we'll wait for him to go onto the back straight before we get the official sector 2 times. Back up to speed. Good, nice entry into the final corner. Or sorry, the final corner at the top of the hill. So onto the back straight he goes. It is not purple for sector 2, so we had a few issues there, maybe potentially at the S's. A bit cautious through that particular corner perhaps, but on the way down to the chase. Cuts the corner nicely, finds himself mid-circuit, hugs over to the right-hand side once again. Heavy braking being done, and hits the apex, no problems. Nice lap here as he comes back up to speed. Is he going to be able to bring it all together in Sector 3, though? That's the question. That's what he needs to do. And into the final corner. Gently, gently does it on the throttle. The car is protesting ever so slightly, but it's pole position there for Mark Young for the time being. It's a 2:20.3, so it's at least 0.6 seconds faster than Alex Kidas, and we'll have to wait and see, of course, if that's any good. And Brett Gibbons, the next person in line.
Yeah, I think he'd really be kicking himself in that one. I think he had a lot more time to give on that lap, but just threw it all the way at the final corner, as it's so easy to do, as we saw Young nearly do that as well. But like I said, Brett Gunn coming up the hill now through the first corner seems to be fairly straightforward and tidy for the time being, as tidy as you can be in conditions such as these. But on the straight now, coming up towards the first part of the mountain, first major braking zone, first difficult really corner, really. A little bit of understeer going into the apex and oversteer. There's everything going on for Brett Gunn as he comes through the apex, but he's able to hold it together. You can see how much standing water is on the circuit. It's going to be so difficult for these guys to get these cars stopped, and he's not, is he? How is Brett Gunn doing that? I'm not sure if it's the camera angle doing this, but it looks like he's about to fly into the barriers every moment. He nearly does there, coming through Griffins, and yeah, what a fantastic.
He's dancing, definitely.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difference that we saw from Mark Young, because he's sideways coming over the crest.
Funny enough, it is purple, Dave. Despite the dancing, the constant corrections going on inside the cockpit, he's at least 0.4 seconds up on Mark Young, who's the person that's fastest in Sector 1 so far.
Yeah, you can see the differences in driving styles when it comes to conditions like this. It just maybe it helps just to keep the heat in the tyres, to get all the grip you can, and getting heat in the tyres means sending it, which is exactly what Brett Gunn is doing right now in the 88, coming through Forest Elba now onto the back straight, and we'll see what his Sector 2 time is. Purple again.
The rear wheels were spinning all the way down the hill, Dave. Did you see that? He was constantly counter-steering to the left as he came out onto the back straight. That is incredible stuff. How he held that while accelerating, that is really good skill there from Brett Gunn.
Yeah, we'll see how that affects his times in the final sector through Chase. No issues there. He's able to keep the car in relatively one direction this time, but you can see from this onboard shot, you can just see every moment the car is squirrely and sideways, and he's really hustling it, breaking into the final corner now. He's purple in Sector 1 and 2. We'll see what he can do. He's a little bit wide of the apex, and very sideways again, still sideways as he crossed the line. I don't think there was a moment there where Brett Gunn wasn't having wheel spin. So 19.4. Number 88, so fantastic for him.
You're out to bring it out, Dragon.
Visual. Oh, look at Chris McClellan. I'm not sure if the conditions are getting worse here, but McClellan, that's not the best way to start your lap, coming full opposite lock into the final corner. But through turn 1 he goes now, and Matt, I will let you call this lap.
Yeah, so Chris McLennan, as he makes his way up the hill, of course, where is he in the standings? He's done fairly well so far. He's P7 in the standings, 1,388 points. So he's still got a lot of work to do before the season's over as he comes into the first few corners. Quarry Bend the first up as he takes the left-hand side of the track, exactly where you're meant to be. He's about mid-circuit for the first corner. Of course, when it is wet conditions, you need to change your driving line ever so slightly to find the grip. It's all a bit of a guessing game. You've got to make sure you don't take the mick and obviously avoid the rubber that's laid down, which he does for the cutting as well. Goes around the outside line. Seems to be under power a bit quicker, although now he finds himself in a slightly awkward position where he's inside for the next set of corners, and that's not exactly where you want to be. Through Ride Park he goes, and down through the dip. Top of the hill, avoid the curb, although he touched it ever so slightly. Although he seems to be quite tidy as it is. Let's have a look at the sector times as they come in. It's a 59, so not the fastest, but not the slowest. As he comes down into the S's. Nice cutting there through the S's, just avoids the barrier on the left hand side, which is exactly what you want to do. Manages to get on the throttle nice and early, and then slowing it right down once again for the Forest Elbow. Of course, this is where the famous tree fell onto the racetrack back in all those years ago. I don't know why that, it might be why it's called that name, I'm not too sure. But now onto the Conrod Straight, planting down every piece of horsepower that he has available to him. And it is a purple Sector 2, 38.6, so he's clawing it back now in this second half of the lap. Is it going to be enough to demote Brett Gooden from pole position, though, into the chase? Nicely done, although he's bogging down at the apex ever so slightly, struggling to get the Mustang back under wraps, and he gets the power down. Underneath the liquid molly banner before coming to the final corner braking zone. This has all got to be well managed now. Avoid the curbing as the car gets a bit unsettled, but nicely held there as he drifts across the start finishing line. Is it going to be enough for pole position though? And it's not, unfortunately. It's a 2:20.4, which places him just behind Mark Young, who he's fighting in the standings. So that is, it's a modest lap. It's on par with everyone else, but a few errors there in Chris McLennan's lap.
Yeah, not quite able to. I think he lost a lot of time in the final sector there with just trying to get the car under control. It's Jacob Frazier there in the number 6. I think everyone is just trying to get as much tire temperature as they can, but he's still wheel spinning coming through the start-finish straight. So this is going to be, I think it's going to be quite the lap here for Jacob Frazier. We'll see how this goes. But through the first corner there, he's still wheel spinning as he comes through for a quarter of the way down the straight. He's managed to get it under control now. I'm not sure if I've seen Jacob Frazier in the standings before, so it might be one of his first rounds with us.
He joined us in Auckland. That was his first round in the series, I believe. So he is a newcomer, but he's already making some points on the board.
Well, he's certainly showing his skill here at the moment as he's come through turns 2 and 3. He's just about going to avoid the barrier there. Coming through the cutting. He's leaving absolutely nothing on the table here. Getting all over the curves, which is going to be very slippy and unsettled the car, but I don't think this car was settled to start with. But going through up the mountain now, and he's still... The car's just dancing everywhere. I don't think there's any in any situation here. This car has been in a straight line, but number 6 car coming through on the top of the mountain now, up to Skyline, very sideways, just about holding on to it into the braking zone. Is he going to be able to get this under control? He's all over the curves, nice and straight lining as much as he can. He's just about made that through. Bit of understeer coming through the second phase of the corner, but he's not purple in the first sector.
It's still a very good first sector, though. Only 0.1 seconds down off Brett Gooden, who set the fastest Sector 1 so far. So he's on par for a really good lap here.
We'll see what the Sector 2 time is here. He's not purple again, but still fairly quick. Coming through Comrade now. This is the only moment I've seen this car in a straight line once again. So I think the first sector lost quite a bit of time in the coming through the first cut, the final corner, which kind of dulled some of his momentum. But through the chase now, just about keeping that thing stopped. It was very squirrely coming under braking, where it was Fraser there, but managed to keep it all together. Coming into the final corner now. Once again, the car is just dancing everywhere as he gets on the brakes. He's able to keep it sort of in a straight line and going in one direction. Comes across line. Is it going to be pole? Not quite. It's second position for the time being, 2:19.779. Just purple in the final sector, though, so a lot of time gained there for Jacob Fraser in the number 6 Tickford racing car.
Seems to be the top of the hill that's catching most people out, because, of course, that's where the time was lost in that particular lap. Brett Gooden's the only one to break into the... Oh, no, tell a lie, sorry. There's 2 people that have broken into the 38s at the top of the hill. But, you know, that's where it's crunch time, and that's where the lines are so fine. But Stephen White is up next, so this is, of course, a man that's in the standings high up, third place at present with 2,014 points. Craig Broadbent is just ahead in the standings by just over 150 or so. So this could be a really important race for White Dog Racing, and he'll be looking to make sure that he stays firmly up high in that top 10 position.
Bring it out, Craig.
So now coming on to his flying lap. And the track's still completely saturated. It looks like the rain's getting slightly lighter, judging by the sky alone, but it is still slightly drizzling at this moment in time as he comes through turn 1. No issues at all there for Stephen White. And charges that Holden straight up the hill in full attack mode. How late is he going to push the braking? About 150 metres into Quarry Bend. Hugs that inside line. And powering down, a slight wiggle from the rear, but no dramas. Nicely held, and into the cutting once again. A very tricky part of the circuit. Is he going to be able to slow it down in time? The back end stepping out ever so slightly, almost drifting into the apex before getting on the power once again through Ride Park. I think this thing is right on the edge as we find ourselves at the top of the mountain here. Over the crest and then powering down towards Sector 2. Let's have a look at the time as it comes in for Sector 1. It's a 58.3, so it's on par with Brett Gooden for the time being. That's a really good Sector 1. Can it all come together for Sector 2, though? So he's got all the work to do still. Still needs to find an extra 10th or so. Wiggling through the S's on the exit there. The Holden right on the edge. Those wet tyres are being pushed, that's for sure. Through Forest Elbow, powering down onto the back straight, down to Conrod.
Just a quick one, Rich. We might need to
all
add
the
more
track
time
available.
to this session.
Looks like it's even wiggling even now. He must be travelling at stupid speeds
person.
when the car is still unsettled. Over the crest of the hill. In towards the chase we come. It's going to be an aggressive cut, no doubt. Uses all the track available on the left-hand side before cutting through the apex. Heavy on the brakes once again here for Stephen White. Manages to touch the apex very nicely.
Next.
Through the corner. What's Sector 2 saying for us? It's purple Sector 2.
Whoever's next, go to pit
All needs to come
lane.
together for the final corner now. This Murray's corner is very tricky indeed. It can all go wrong very easily, but he's attacking the apex quite nicely. Sideways there for Stephen White as he comes across the start. Finishing line. Is it going to be pole position? It is a 2:18.6 there, Dave. That is really impressive stuff there from White Dog Racing.
Yeah, that was a fantastic lap. As spectacular it was still quick, but yeah, Stephen White always up there in the standings, so he's one to look out for in this race, absolutely.
Actually,
but,
you should just
Craig
scrape in.
Broadbent as well, another driver that's had a better second half of the season than the first half. He really didn't start off the season very well sideways on the exit of the first corner. That's not going to help him. I think the track is getting a lot wetter. It seems that the range is not stopping coming down, and with no cars on the track really to clear any of the water, it's just starting to pool. But Craig Broadbent doing a decent job so far, keeping the car in a straight line, comes through turn 2. Now he's able to keep that going. Sideways, still wheel spinning all the way up the hill here, and then breaking into. Oh, he's hit the barrier. He's in the barriers. He's just a touch. I think he's just able to get away with it, but that won't help Craig Broadbent's chances here.
Well, who knows? In these conditions, it might help turning the car. You don't know, do you? But he's carrying on his lap now.
Yeah, he's carrying on. It looks like he's able to continue. He's not purple, but he's not too far off, I don't think. But Yeah, this has been quite the spectacular lap so far. Not the tidiest from Craig Broadbent here. It's very wide as well, over the curves, which can be very, very slippery. Down through Skyline and through the S's now. It looks like he went just a little bit wide there of the apex. He had to just snag on the brakes a little bit just to keep the car stopped. Very, very wiggly coming through on the power, and then through the through Forest Elbow now.
It's a good exit. It's a good exit there.
The barriers again. I think he just about clipped the barrier at the back end coming through Forest Elbow, and it really unsettled the car. But he's carrying on. I don't think the times are going to be too great for Craig Broadbent here. This could be some work for him in the race if this carries on.
I think he's on par for P2 at the moment, Dave, because it was only a few thousandths in Sector 1. An extra tenth off Stephen White in Sector 2, so it's not really that much in it. It depends on how bad that Sector 3 was, which we'll have to wait and see, of course, as he comes across the start-finishing line. Coming through down to the final braking zone now. And I think he will be somewhere within the top 3, that's for sure. If he can bring it together in the final corner, that's for sure. Powering down, wiggling all the way, the Mustang fighting its way across. And he's actually on pole position, Dave. He brought it all together in that final few corners. That is mega stuff. So purple Sector 3, and that's all it took. A 2:18.555. That is how you do it.
Less than a tenth from Stephen White. Craig Broadbent, what a lap that was. I don't think the team would be too happy with the bits they have to pick off from the barriers or whatever, but we'll see how that goes. But here we go, the championship leader Wayne Walker coming through to start his lap now.
This is going to be a day of concentration here, the lap of life from Wayne Walker. Of course, he's in the championship lead. He doesn't need to worry too much about it, but of course if he DNFs here and in the subsequent rounds, he could be in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of points available for these endurance rounds as he comes up into Sector 1 now, and Quarry Ben being the first one to master. Slows down very nicely indeed, hugs the inside line, no dramas whatsoever. Slight wiggle like we've seen from everyone else as he gets the power down, and just look at the rain, it's still hammering down even now. The wipers going ferociously as they try to clear the water to see what's ahead. And that's a point to make as well as he makes his way through the cutting quite nicely as well, is that when we go into the race conditions, the spray from the car ahead is going to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be so difficult to see where you're going, but this lap so far from Wayne Walker, how tidy it's been. He's gone purple in Sector 1. So Wayne Walker, he's showing his skill here in all the weather conditions. Everything just looks so just smooth. There's obviously a bit of oversteer and understeer everywhere, but he's able just to nurse it through. Look how smooth he is in these conditions. It looks fantastic.
Yes, 2/10 up in Sector 1 alone, so that has paid off. That smooth transition from throttle to brakes, etc. That's what you need to have in these conditions. It's all fine margins as he comes down through Forest Elbow on the power nice and early. Slight tiny wiggle, but much more under control from what we've seen. It looks like this is going to, already another 0.4 seconds there, Dave. On Sector 2, this is a mega lap here from Wayne Walker. This is how he easily makes his mark on the championship. Somehow he finds time. I don't know how he does it. He's just an alien, I think. He's not from this planet. But coming down into the chase now, slowing very nicely indeed. Looks like he was going to understeer slightly, but no, perfectly done. Manages to get a slight drift on as he goes through the penultimate corner and down towards the final challenge, which will be Murray's. And yep, no dramas once again. Looks like we may see a bit of a drift here. No, it's all under control. There's the tiniest of wiggles as he comes across the start finishing line, and that's a 2:17.7. That's 0.8 seconds faster than Broadbent, and we thought that was a mega lap.
It's showing his skills here is Wayne Walker. That is an absolutely stunning lap. But we'll see. The last challenger we have now, Daniel Optisano, the closest rival to Wayne Walker we have, coming across the start-finish line now. He's got it all to do to match that lap, which is absolutely a textbook from Wayne Walker there on how to drive this car in these conditions. Very sideways out the first corner was Optisano, but from what we've seen, it doesn't seem to cost you too much time in conditions like this. But we'll see how he gets on coming through straight out into turn 2. We'll see how he gets on.
Bouncing off the rev limiter as well as he comes into the first sector. So that's he's really starting to push the engine as well. I'll be quite cautious of that because it might unsettle the car, but he seems to have managed quite nicely there as we come through to the cutting.
very
was a
close
slight
to the
touch
barrier.
to the
Did he
barrier.
hit?
Yeah.
Did he hit the barrier there? I think he did. Went very wide as well, coming up the hill. Not been the highest lap so far, but we'll see what the sector times show.
I mean, it's dancing.
He is very much dancing through these corners. He's not purple through the first sector. 58.645. He's in the barriers hard there. That's going to cause some damage, surely. And that's going to possibly hurt him. He's on the grass as well. He's really pushing this car, is Apadisano, but it's just costing him time.
Yes, it's not really come together for him in that first sector. He's already 0.4 seconds down, so he's got to make sure that he does his homework in the second sector, make sure he hits all of his marks. He's come through the S's a bit sideways, so we'll have to wait for the time to come through. And into Forest Elbow once again.
Big four-wheel drift coming through Forest Elbow on the exit, but yeah, once again, 38.497 for sector 2.
I'm on my own.
Thank you.
Nice work, guys.
Well done, fellas.
Good driving, all.
Well done, Wayne, Craig.
Hey, Rain, Wayne, you got rain turned on your game?
Those conditions were terrible.
Yeah, it was slipperier than practice, eh?
That was way worse.
Oh yes, fucking couldn't get a. I can't talk.
They probably should have cancelled the shootout.
Yeah, shootout should have been cancelled. You know.
Yeah, the quality results were good, I thought.
Yeah. I wanted to be one position ahead.
Actually, I'd probably be better off if you're in front of me. Then you can't ram the back of me at the first lap.
I'm gonna be beside you though.
Not by the first corner.
I'm pretty good at my start, so I might be in front of you.
Well, we've got 5-minute warm-up. So if anyone wants to get a last-minute quick check done, do so. Go for your toilet break, whatever you need to do. And then we're going to be into a 2-hour race.
Well done, Alex.
Did Alex come out on slicks?
I think he might have. He looped it on the exit.
Oh, I think that's what I've done as well.
I did. I had to go back into the pits.
Yeah, that's something we're all gonna have to remember to do.
Yeah, I
Otherwise,
thought
it'll
something
be
happened there.
an interesting start to the race.
I'm looking, I thought, oh shit, something's happened. He's dropped out, and oh shit, and oh, he's come back out. Because I got live timing on one screen, and I'm in as a spectator as another.
Yeah.
He's talking about cutting it close with the top 10 shootout and the timing that we set.
Yeah,
that was
last year we had 5 minutes, I think.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, there was tons of time.
Yeah.
Oh, because of, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Because of the rain, and a few people took their time getting their shit sorted. Jacob.
A little bit of that.
I didn't realize I was up next, and then
What else are you doing? Like,
I was watching the broadcast. I was watching it, and then Jacob, you're up. Oh shit! What?
Watch it tomorrow.
Well, I'm gonna watch the rest of it tomorrow. I just wanted to watch the top 10.
Was it any good?
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty good until this Jacob cunt showed up. Fuck, he can't drive. But I think the most exciting lap to watch was probably Craig's, because, like, despite the fact that there was, like, a few mistakes in it, he still managed to put it on provisional for a little bit.
Yeah, I must admit, I wasn't expecting Craig to be as quick as he was, seeing how...
Neither was I, to be honest.
You were going sideways nearly every corner, and I'm just looking at it going,
Yeah, well, same with Daniel. I'm, like, thinking, I'm going to be starting at least P5 here, and then nah.
Well, it wasn't a great lap, but...
She wasn't the cleanest, but...
Great enough.
Good enough to put you on the second row.
It was hard because I was slightly less grip without the other cars on track.
You damage your right rear going into the cutting?
Might have too, yeah.
I did.
I think I kissed it a little bit.
Yeah, you sure did.
I was fucking close to hitting it. I think I had like maybe a fucking pebble between me and the wall. Radio guys, remember, you win the race in the first corner.
Right, Jacob, you just wait until we've all done the first lap and then you can come out.
Oh, righto. I would do that, but that doesn't sound fun for me.
You'll have fresher tyres.
Yeah, but I'll be a lap down.
Remember, folks, 100% damage. You don't want to hit a wall.
No, walls are the enemy right now.
And when it clicks over to race, don't forget to put wets on.
Yeah, you don't want to go out on hards.
Yeah, no way.
No, that won't be fun. I mean, if we all did it, it'd be a very fun first lap.
30 seconds.
Fun.
Well, fun for,
If that's
to
what you
watch
call
back on. Fun to watch back on.
Yeah, yep.
2 hours, boys.
Good luck, gents. Have a
Yeah,
good
good luck, everyone.
Long
Good luck.
race, boys.
Good luck. I'll see you all for the first 10 minutes, and then I'm out of here.
Probably done better than Wayne the other night.
I do. Oh, didn't even start the race.
Rocked up for qualifying.
Do we do our setup now?
Hey, Rick, the grid's wrong.
Grid's wrong.
Reset to warm up.
It's gone back to qualifying ones. Grid.
So we're going to wait for the reset, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to go back to warm up and fix up the grid.
How long will that take?
Well,
2
I've just been booted out.
Oh, mechanical failure.
There's a few that just got booted.
Just wait for everyone to jump back in.
Everyone that got booted, they need to probably go check that when they drive, they've got their whole car. Like sometimes when you get booted, you can't see the inside of your car anymore.
Awesome.
Sounds fun.
I think it was only Stephen that got booted.
Stephen and Brad, by the look of it.
No, it says Brad. Brad has entered the race.
Brad's back in. It's just Stephen.
So we have to set the pit stops for the fuel load to full, don't we?
Yeah, if you get time.
Does Stephen need to be in the server when the grid gets set?
Yeah, I'll redo it when everyone on the last minute.
Aye, cool.
Yep.
Okay.
I just didn't know how to check it at work, so I'll wait to the last minute. Yeah, so it looks like it doesn't keep the settings, Chris. So
Yeah, that's weird because it has other times we've used it.
Yeah.
Nah. Well,
Yeah, in the past it has worked, but there's been a lot of changes to R Factor 2 since we've last done this.
So they fix one thing and fuck something else.
And break 10 other things, yeah.
Classic R factor.
Yeah.
Just trying to make our lives misery.
Okay, just loading in now. Maybe. That's it. Yep.
You got to start from the back of the grid now, Steve.
I think I deserve to start at the back of the grid. I have no idea what to do tonight with bars. I've gone soft, I've gone hard, I've gone medium, high fuel, low fuel. It makes no difference for me.
I know nothing works, does it?
No.
No, you just got to drive it on the back wheels, basically.
Yeah. Yep. And after like 2 laps, it's
They're dead.
sliding all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, those wets only hold on for, well, I only get a lap to a lap and a half out of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
glad
good,
it's not
so
just
it's not
me
just
then.
me. I was thinking, oh shit,
It's going to be a long night.
Yeah.
it's gonna be a
Bloody open it.
long night.
I think it's the setup too, because it's got a lot of camber on it.
Yeah.
That's probably the issue, is probably because it's
And it
dry
steps
setup and all
sideways.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And it's too hard sprung.
Yep.
Oh well, it all makes this just more fun.
Yeah. Everybody's got the same as well.
Yeah,
So.
same for everyone. You got it.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder how much quicker you could go if you could change it.
Quite a lot, probably.
Yeah,
Especially if
I
your
think
name's
so.
Wayne. I mean, with this setup, it's probably the fastest I think I've gone around Bathurst. I don't know if it's because this is like a different track version or something, but
Nah, I'm the same. I was faster on the default than I was tinkering.
I think it's because we've had quite a while to get used to the stock setup.
well, I haven't. I've had 2
Yeah.
rounds.
Because we never
Yeah.
really give it a chance. We get in the track and we're like, oh, this is rubbish, and then start tinkering.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We drive it. It's
Yeah.
not too bad once you get used to it.
Yeah, you just got to drive it differently.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's always been like a bit pointy, which is like how I prefer to drive a car. But I know for like you, Wayne, you're like a much more like the car rolls a lot more in your setup, so that would have been a fucking tough learning curve.
If anything, it's a bit loose in the rear for my liking, but you get used to it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're good, you can drive anything. Doesn't matter how it's set up.
All right, 30 seconds.
That grid's still wrong, I think, isn't it?
It'll change in the race.
Will it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pay attention to the actual list.
Once it clicks to race, they'll change positions.
And don't forget to adjust your setup.
Yep, and put wets on.
Wets on, please. Please put wets on. Please.
I mean, Wayne, you can keep your hards on. We won't mind.
No, I'll be right.
It'll still be faster.
Oh, probably. He'd probably go 2 seconds faster than he did in his quali
You don't need a
lap.
20-car pile up on the first corner.
Jacob says, hold my beer.
Yeah. Hang on. Can I be put at the back of the grid real quick?
Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, good luck, all.
Good luck, all.
He said 60 minutes.
Yeah.
He did, he's an
60
idiot.
minutes. Yeah, I think he's a bit
He's drunk.
he's been drinking a bit.
Wets.
I'm rolling backwards. I don't like that.
White Dog, are you on hards or are you on wets?
I think wets.
Oppo, are you on hards or on wets? Because it just told me P4's
Yeah,
on,
just-
on wets.
Oh, it's Oppo. Yeah, check it, Oppo.
I don't know, but I am on.
No, everyone's on wets. So
I'm on wets. Everyone's on wets? Cool.
On my hard thing, everyone's on wets.
I'm hoping I'm on wets. I didn't check.
Alright.
Yeah, look at the track colour he's got there, Rich, at the top of the hill.
Who was it?
Sorry, John Slow, sorry.
Sorry, no worries, mate. Cleared.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Oggy.
Hey Rich, can you clear this penalty, mate? I just spun off at the chase.
That you, Bradley?
Yeah, mate, that's me.
Yeah, I just saw you.
Cheers, buddy.
You should be able to log in, back in. But
Yeah, it's DNF somehow. Won't drive.
Who was that?
Johnny Wayne, mate.
There's nothing I can really do, Johnny, unless you jump out of the, go back to the main menu and do the lobby, come back in and see if it lets you race, because it does. We do have it turned on where if you drop out, you can come back in. That should be clear, Bradley.
Thanks, mate. Yep.
Yeah, John, I can't check the log until after the race, but you won't, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get back in. It is turned on. I'll just check my config. It is on, but something must have happened to your car or something. I don't know.
No worries. Thanks for the help anyway, mate. I'll spectate for the rest. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'll let you know if I can find something in the log at the end of the race.
Thanks, mate.
Imagine so. Good luck.
Rich, John Slow, that first track limit where I got like 3.75 track limit still coming up.
Who's this for?
John Slow.
I'll get rid of it again.
Is this still there from before?
It should have come up telling you just then, or before penalty removed or whatever.
It still says 4.75 track limits out of 5.
I can't clear the...
Roger.
That bit, yeah, I've got rid of your penalty, that's it, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So if you do one more time, it's going to ping you.
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Augie.
Glad you got an unlimited set of front splitters, Matty.
Thanks, Rosie.
Spread. Thanks, Brad.
No dramas.
Roger, before forward, forward.
Thanks, Brad.
Just going on a toilet break, I'll be back.
Probably not the smartest spot to be braking there, Bradley.
It's Craig.
I'll look at Brad.
Through you go, buddy. So Bradley behind my A pillar.
You go past Liam.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
I'll pull the inside up.
Thanks, mate. Alex.
Just trying to stick online when you're stacking.
Just wait for the cars to go past, mate.
How was that?
Sorry, mate. Sorry, Craig. Yeah.
Blue flag, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Mark. Thanks, Liam.
Work that well, Chris.
Thanks, Brad.
No dramas.
Inside or outside? Alright.
Sorry, mate. I wasn't ready for that.
All good.
Too bad.
Get through, Brad. I'll let you buy it, Brad.
Next one.
Thank you, Craig.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks, Brad.
You know what, Doug?
Thanks, Brady. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Craig.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I gotta roll. Look out, Wayne, I'm going slow down in Conrod. I'll keep to the right.
Thanks, Jacob.
You nearly out of fuel?
Yeah. Wouldn't make another lap, so...
Must be a juice.
And that's out of fuel, Steve-O.
Oh, no way, really?
Not even joking.
I thought you were playing with me when I was catching you earlier.
That was intense. I even gave it 10 meters extra than what it said.
Really?
Yeah.
It's probably because Wayne, like, just at the line, it went to 0, like, right as
Yeah,
it
he
crossed.
did. It was like a second.
So
Oh, yeah,
it screwed everyone over with fuel, because it would have been right, because he just barely fucking clicked over.
I had enough fuel.
Me too.
I've got plenty, mate. You want some?
Yeah, that's why I was going slow there. Because I was like, I need you to pass me so I can finish on the lap down.
I accidentally didn't change my front left on the last pit stop. That was painful.
Well done, Wayne.
Oh.
I got crew trip.
Thanks, Daniel.
For me automatically.
Well done, Wayno.
Congratulations, Craig. Thank you.
Craig? Yeah, well done, Wayne, Daniel,
Oh.
Craig.
Great race, guys.
I reckon
That has to be the hardest race we've done, I reckon.
Yeah,
That was insane.
Oh, that was fucking hectic. And I finished Holy shit!
Yeah, well done, man.
I appreciate the call out, Jacob. That was good.
Top
Yeah.
3, jump into the broadcast. You know what to do. And yeah, wow, that was hard race. That was the best race I've had.
That was awesome, wasn't it?
Because it was just so intense. It was just it felt good.
Honestly,
So what?
for me, it was kind of boring.
Wet races from now on.
Yeah, all races wet.
I was alone that entire race. Like, it was just turning laps for 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah, I was like around people right at the very beginning, but then like the front lot started to pull away, and I was pulling away from the people in front of behind me. So it was like just me and no means leading for the entire race.
Wow, I always got caught for the first half of the race. I always got caught up with cars around me with the little mistakes I made.
Yeah, I was like always just barely starting to catch you because you were in front of me, and then you'd spin out.
Yeah,
At first elbow.
I was getting better with my bar setup by the end, but it was shit at the start.
I didn't touch on the entire race.
Really?
Yeah, no, I didn't touch them.
I doubled my bars by the end of the race.
Yeah, I'm going to find I got an issue. I hit a button on my steering wheel and it keeps taking me to soft tyres for your pit changes.
Okay, that's an interesting one. Didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I've changed some buttons.
Setting from
so I
crew
can play-
chief, or is that something else doing that, you think?
I've got a feeling it's a crossover with crew chief somewhere. Yeah, because I've swapped some buttons around so I could work my bars a bit easier than playing with a keyboard while I'm driving. And ever since I've done that, it happened twice this race. When I hit to go to the pits, it automatically threw everything to soft tyres.
Yep. Yeah. Well. Well, I have a ton more respect for the guys who are going to actually be racing the real track tomorrow if it's going to be wet. But that's just crazy.
Yeah, but their tyres work.
Yeah, that
Yeah, their tyres last longer than like a lap and a half.
Yeah, but the mist wouldn't be much different.
No, the visibility is going to be almost identical if it's wet.
Because all I was looking for is just the roadside signage just to work out where I was.
Every time I got into like right near behind someone like a lap car or whatever, I couldn't see shit. I was like, I'd lose like a second or two a lap because I just couldn't see what the fuck was going on around me.
Yep.
Yeah, Jacob, I followed you. I think lap 2 followed you through the chase, and I ended up with a cut track because you went off the track, and I followed you.
Oh, I didn't. How does that work? How does one person get a track cut but the other person doesn't?
Oh, I think I was slightly to your right, but I assume that you were probably a metre or two left of where the road was.
Yeah.
Well, thank you as always, gentlemen, and Chriso for putting on a good show.
Yeah, thanks for coming, mate. It's been a good night.
Thanks, Richard, as well, mate.
And Rich,
Yeah, Rich.
if you can hear it.
Yeah, cheers, Richie, even though you lied about the dry coming.
Yeah, but crew chief even told me with half an hour to go, the track's going to start dry, it's going to stop raining. It never did.
It did get a
Yeah.
bit bright there for a second. I got my hopes up.
I know, I seen it was starting to dry off, and I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to start drying off here. We're going to get a bit of a dry line going, and nah.
Did it get wetter in the second stint?
It felt like it.
It was just hard every.
And there was no big pile up, was there?
No safety.
No, I don't think so.
Mark, did I stuff up when you came into the pits? Because I pulled out when you were pulling in or something, and you were in my blind spot at the start, and all of a sudden I see a car, and I go, oh, fuck.
Yeah, because I tried to avoid you, and then I went straight into the garage. It was funny, yes. No, it was all good.
Okay, sorry if I definitely made it harder for you anyway.
No, because I didn't want to hit you, because I would have damaged you straight off the bat, and then because you were coming out.
No worries. All right, guys, take care. Happy Bathurst Day tomorrow, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, mate.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
See you guys.
Steve.
Yep, see you later.
See ya.